We're back in session. And Doug, if you would continue, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Management Resources is the next group.
Which is tab 11.
Yes.
Thank you.
Page 118. You see a relatively flat budget in total. Significant increase over 06. The step up from 06 is the land acquisitions of $12 million coming in from the riverbed, and $1.2 million for several facility-related project requests. Looking at their funding, where it comes from, see the general fund, again, lion's share of that's the land budget. A little bit in the IDC pool, stepping up here of a couple million over 06 actuals. We'll get into the departments that are doing that. And flat on the other fund. You see a salary, modest increase over budget, significant increase over 06. Several new positions were put into this budget in 07. After the comprehensive budget. Again, this chart shows comprehensive budget numbers going into the first of the year. Management resource, I'm on page 119. See a $222,000 increase over the current year budget due to a planning manager and the related costs, as well as an additional $100,000 contract service budget for land planning and architect work related to several of these capital projects. There's a 109% increase over 06 actuals, again related to the same thing, along with their normal merit increases in the department. Information Systems Department, the technical guys, 15% increase over 07 actuals, largely in contract services and operational costs related to Lawson and our Microsoft Enterprise Agreement licenses going into 08. Basically, no change from where we were in 06 for the IT department. Tribal Resource Department has a $2.7 million decrease. It was disseminated in 06. This department doesn't exist any longer, and the 07 budget of 2.7, again, as I noted, is the ice storm that went in there. It's not, doesn't have a budget. The Natural Resource Department has a 6% increase budget to budget, $965,000, but a $12.7 million increase over 06 actuals. The land, and primarily that's the land. Budget's funded by the settlement funds. Another significant item in the budget is the addition of a new NAHASDA-funded community housing rehab office for $514,000 in natural resources. Facilities Management, page 120, has a $336,000 increase budget to budget. Its increases are over $1.3 million in new initiatives. Building structure maintenance budget, $250,000. The courthouse budget, $630,000. Veterans Center, $250,000. I know these are all redundant. You've already heard all of these. They're offset by completion of several projects in 07. $1.2 million increase, or 100% increase over the 06 spending due to those same things. Construction Management, no change to their, actually this department was transferred to C&I in 06, so you see the decrease there in the comparison. Acquisition Management, 100% indirect cost pool program, no significant change from the 07 budget, 38% increase over 06, $280,000. Salaries and benefits are the majority of that. Program has, and I noted here that this particular department typically budgets flat and typically underspends the budget. It is an indirect cost budget. So if there's ever any funding source that is good to underspend their budget, that's one of them. Support services, another indirect cost, slight increase over 07, 16% over 06 actuals, no change in staffing. But the change again is salaries, and again, being indirect costs is not a concern. Risk Management, the last department in Mr. Enlow's group, another indirect cost funded support function for all the programs, has relatively no change in 07, slight increase from 06 actuals because of combined risk management, quality assurance, and emergency management, as well as the 06 books are carrying a credit of $800,000 for insurance allocations that resulted in an increase when you compare it to the 08 budget. The 08 budget does not have that credit. Now, that has to do with the allocated internal billings for insurance. Moving on into the details. All these are items, Mr. Chairman, that I just repeated. Again, we can go through and look at them. I don't know what else I can add in the details that I haven't already commented on.
Are there any questions or discussion on any of the items under management resources detail?
Yeah, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
I just had a question about the community housing rehab office of $514,000. Where's that going to be constructed, Doc?
Kim just informed me that we've actually changed the name of that. That $500,000 is working with the community planning group, and so that will be focused on land acquisition and community development. So it's not an office space or anything like that. It's actually land acquisition inside the communities associated with the HOSDA funds and doing community development as a holistic plan. So that's actually what those dollars are for.
Yeah, I had one more question for you, Todd. I see you've got a planning manager. Is that and an architect? Is that I see he's on contract.
Yeah,
Is he outside contract or is he contracted to work here for Nation?
he's outside contract.
Okay.
It's James Childers who was.
That he resigned for you?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Sutton.
I got a question, Todd, about the buildings and structures and the property maintenance. I know last year we didn't have any allocations in that budget. I know in the last several community meetings we've had and committee meetings that Council Weather has made comments about the condition of the facility, particularly around the tribal complex. But we get comments about other places. I'm just curious, do you need, or would you recommend that this funding be increased slightly to encompass additional upkeep, or what's your thoughts on that?
Well, there's two kind of questions there that you have. One is the buildings and maintenance structures. Those are for items that are not in our space cost pool. So the buildings that are in our space cost pool, every dollar that we spend on that should in theory balance out to a zero budget for our collections. And so every year when we see trending of space going up or down, that's an indication of how well or how poorly we did at controlling our costs and operations. In the last year, space costs went up due to the budget that was submitted for this year, plus the expenditures that were committed in fiscal year 05. And there was a lot of capital investments done in fiscal year 05, so it drove up our space cost. For example, the space cost inside the warehouse went from $4 a square foot to it jumped $4 in the last 2 years. And so it was a pretty significant increase to that program, and that's one of the reasons why you'll see support services costs have increased from 06. So what we've been trying to do this year is to really watch our spending and do only those maintenance items that had to be done, to replacement of air conditioners, repairing of roofs. And we've done a few projects here and there, but we haven't gone out and replaced a lot of carpet or done additional things this year to try and help the programs, because when we spend that money, it's going to be tacked on to the following fiscal year's space costs. So our goal was to try and reduce that. And it looks like this year, with the space that we've added, plus our expenditures, we're going to see a decrease in space costs over the next couple of years. So building maintenance, we've got a couple of things on tap, including facade work and just general preventative maintenance schedules. and that's included inside the indirect cost pool. The $250,000 are for those that are outside, that we own throughout the 14 counties that need some repair work, but we don't have any way to recoup our cost. And so these are one-time projects, like we might need a roof on a structure or plumbing repair. And so rather than coming to the council and say, I need $5,000 here, $10,000 there, $6,000 here, $3,000 here, we would put that in there and address those issues as they come up for structures that are outside of our lease pool.
Ms. Jordan?
Yes, Todd, last year, there was a $100,000 fee within the legislative branch budget for the expansion amounts. And then there was also a comparable fee in the judicial branch's budget. This year, it stayed in the judicial branch's budget, but somehow ours didn't get in there. Now, was ours incorporated into your department somewhere?
Yes, I've actually got dollars as part of our planning process. The 7 projects that we had identified for the early on concept drawings, those are included in our contract with the architect.
So actually, that $100,000 went over to your area.
Well, we also got that in 07.
Okay.
Because we started in 07. But in theory, that's...
I just want to make sure you have enough
Yeah.
to continue the idea.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
One of those 7?
Yes.
Okay. Would you like for Todd to comment on all the new initiatives?
I'll make one comment that all the facilities that we have, if you look at them in 2 different groups, one of them have tenants or program personnel, the other one don't. The ones that have the tenant that can pay square footage rates off their federal or tribal funded program budgets, those are part of a space. The other ones are not. The other ones that are not are the ones you're seeing.
New initiatives, we addressed the $250,000 for the building structures and property maintenance. Land acquisition, that's $2 million acquisition of properties associated with the cultural tourism plan. So looking at our existing areas around the Heritage Center, places throughout the 14 counties that have been identified, adjacent land properties associated with the cultural tourism plan. The courthouse, that's landscaping renovation. Earlier in the fiscal year, we worked with Main Street Tahlequah, and they actually paid for an architect to give us 3 concepts. We've taken a look at those, and we've engaged the architect to refine that process for us. And so the $630,000 will be going towards re-landscaping the grounds, which includes a lot of hardscape like sidewalks and gazebos, and adding to the functionality of the grounds, as well as long-term maintenance and care. Right now we have 2 people that string garden hoses back and forth across the lawn, and so part of that will be including sprinkler systems and trying to cut our maintenance costs down on that property.
Short.
I can include reworking some of the bathroom situation?
Yes. Yeah. That $630,000 will also cover some of the facade work as well. We won't go into major restoration, but we'll go back in and rehab the things that need to be addressed to preserve the structure. Veteran?
Just
Sorry.
Todd, as you go through, would you prioritize your
As far as the new initiatives?
in terms of 1 through, say, 4?
Okay. I'll go ahead and go through this list real quick, and then I'll go back and try to address that. The Veteran Center, that is a structure that we're planning on building just to the east of the Veteran Center today, basically where the tennis courts are. Looking at approximately a 5,000 square foot facility, and one of the things that we're looking at doing to help curb the cost and get volunteers and the community involved is a SIPS building, or like the model home that's being constructed over here, the same type of materials. So cost of construction would hopefully be quite a bit less than a steel structure or, so that's what the $250,000 is for. Roads construction, I have a pretty detailed map of where we would be looking at roads construction, but a lot of it is around the complex area. The immersion classroom adjacent to the Child Development Center around the Sequoia High School campus, and so it's going in and paving some of the roads around some of our facilities that either don't have existing roads or maybe need some minor repair. The community housing rehab office, again, that's $500,000 plus indirect costs, and that's for land acquisition associated with the housing development inside the community. So those are all the new initiatives. Ranking and priority, well, that's tough. I'm kind of like Melissa. The courthouse and land acquisitions, I would put probably at 1 joint. 2 would be, well, the federal funds of the housing rehab that's already identified in the grant. So out of the travel dollars, I would say land acquisition and courthouse would be 1. The roads construction would be 2, Veterans Center would be 3, and the building structures and property maintenance would be 4.
Okay. Thanks, Todd. Are there any other questions of Todd under management resources? Okay. Appreciate your time. Thank you very much. Okay. Next we have Commerce Services.
Commerce. Okay, page 127. Commerce Service Group, you'll notice has a $600,000 decrease. A lot of that's in the Credit and Finance and Small Business Assistance Center. When you look at this program's funding, notice that a significant amount's coming in from the enterprise. The enterprise is primarily the landfill, and then the other one is the HUD, significant funding. The HUD increase over 06 in 07 and then slightly dropping off in 08 is the Mortgage Assistance Program and the Self-Sufficiency Program that came into this group starting in 07. Salaries relatively flat compared to the budget, significant increase over 06. Again, some of these programs that were coming into this group in 07 is driving these salaries up from the HUD funds. And you can see the increase here from 06 in the head counts. The Executive Director Group of Commerce has basically no change, slight 5% over 07. It's got a $331,000 increase over 06 in contract services of $123,000 and $120,000 salaries and fringes. Credit and Finance Department, the $600,000 decrease. His budget's going down. The department only has 2 budgets. They're both new initiative requests from the 06 IHP. A request of $900,000 for the self-sufficiency financial planning as related to the mortgage assistance program. It's also using approximately $495,000 or 55% for administrative dollars and $407,000 for contract services. That, as noted, I assume are mortgage assistance payments. I make that point because I wanted to point out to the body that the mortgage assistance program in here, the budget that's using the mortgage assistance funds, is spending 55% of those total funds are on admin dollars and 45% are direct service. Cherokee National Holiday, not hardly any increase over 07. $140,000 increase over 06. Several new activities. Obviously, you're aware that the holiday activities increase each year. Business Enterprises has a $600,000 increase or 26% over 07 budget and a 34% or $700,000 increase over 06 actuals. The increase is due to a $156,000 increase on the landfill expense budget, yet it's also budgeting a decrease in revenue of nearly $400,000. The operation budgeting a loss for the year of nearly $150,000. And as noted, I was unclear where the $4 million of capitalized site development costs in the past for the cell that's depleted, where that depletion expense is coming in for this budget. Not saying it's not on the books, but I don't see where it's coming in on the budget. Difference between depletion and depreciation. One has to do with site development, the other has to do with equipment and fixed assets. Small Business Assistance Centers are requesting a 22% decrease, $580,000 decrease, and it's the elimination of the intermediary relending program, which is basically most of that decrease. Talked about this a day or two ago on the relending program. Sorry, I can't remember what we found out. It's going to be reapplied for?
Yes, it will be reapplied for, but at the time the budget was prepared, it didn't have the grants, so it's not in there.
Okay. $800,000 increase over 06 actuals due to the ICDBG microenterprise program and the youth ICDBG microenterprise program. Both those added up to 780 of the 790. Going into page 132 and the detail of this group. You see the $600,000 in credit and finance I mentioned on the self-sufficiency planning funding reduction from 06 to 07 IHP. The Jollagee Apartments are driving a significant increase here, bringing that into the group. We talked about that yesterday. Page 132B shows the significant decrease from the relending program. That's all I have on that, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. We have, Ms. Jordan?
The mortgage assistance program that appears to be coming into this budget, is it being moved from another place?
I think I can address that.
That's the one above.
Right. The role that Commerce plays in the mortgage assistance plan is that they do all of the credit checks. They also provide credit counseling. A lot of times we get a client in whose credit isn't good enough to qualify for the mortgage, and they have a counseling program. They work with those clients. So that's what these dollars are for.
Are there other departments essentially doing the same thing?
Not that aspect of it, but the whole mortgage assistance program, several people have a role in that. Commerce's role is from the credit assessment and credit counseling viewpoint.
And our cost of producing the actual money that goes to the person is exceeding our cost of the money going to the person.
No.
It takes 55%
No.
to get the money out to them of the program?
No.
I mean, did I misread this? It said that 495 was going for administrative dollars and 407 was going for contract services.
But the contract services, that is not the $15,000 per client. That is what I mentioned, the credit counseling. They have.
So none of it's going to
None of
the
this
people.
goes to the people. This is helping them repair their credit so that they can qualify for the loan.
And then they go to another department if they get past the credit checks and the credit counseling, they go to another department.
That's correct.
And that would be community services maybe?
No, the mortgage assistance is through Housing Authority right now. It's Housing Authority is actually administering the payments to the clients.
Okay.
That is for the credit counseling.
So we contract out the credit counseling.
Some of it.
My apologies.
I just want to understand the process.
Yeah.
You know, I misled with my comments. I thought the $400,000 was the payment, right, and then the other was the credit counseling coming in with the personnel. But it's all credit counseling and financial planning.
Kind of all administrative
Apologies.
here, but
Right.
then there's money going out to people somewhere else.
There's 4.3 million in the Housing Authority's budget for those actual assistant payments.
That's right. Correcting me, Cal. Appreciate that.
Okay.
Sorry, Tommy.
Yeah, I've got a clear picture of it now.
Anything else? Commerce Services? Ms. Fishingham?
All this landfill on that. $2.4 is what we're budgeting to it this year. And you said all of this we're getting back this year.
When I prepared this budget, which was late May, this is based on the existing contract with ICI whereby they reimburse us for salaries and equipment and all of that, plus they pay a host fee. So that's how this budget is calculated. I'm sure we're all aware that there's some issues pending there. And at some point down the road, we may need to come back and amend the budget, but this was based on the existing contract, yes.
Okay, so this is what it's costing them that we get reimbursed for, like you said, the salaries and stuff.
Right.
So basically, they're paying, how do they make payments to us for this, monthly?
We bill them monthly, yes.
Okay, so this is over years, that's $200,000 a month. We give them, they turn around and give it right back. 'Cause
Well, part of that is expense reimbursements, part of it's the host.
that's part of the contract, they pay us back.
Right.
Okay. Am I wrong, Doug, in saying this? If they're paying us $200,000 a month for these expenses, instead of, what I don't want to do is put $2.4 million in this, because personally, I'm against it. I'm from Adair County. I've been digging in this. I'm not going back to Adair County and tell you all, I know it's a bad deal. It ain't getting us nowhere. We're losing money. We're polluting the environment, but I raised my hand and voted to give them $2.4 million against my own personal convictions to my people in Cherokee County. So here is what I'm doing now. Since they give us $200, we pay the same, we pay $200 a month, they give us $200 a month. We pay them, this is a revolving cycle. Why can't we give them 2 months worth of stuff, because I know mods ain't gonna come in October. So give them $400,000 in this budget to start out with. We use that $200 to pay the expenses for that month. You'll give us the $200 back. Every month we can make mods, because I'm against giving them $2.4 million.
Can I
And
address that,
that's what-
Mr. Chairman?
Yes. How's the contract set up?
That's why I don't want to break the contract.
Okay, this is what I'm telling you. It's as though it is a business. Those expenditures, as long as the landfill is out there operating, those expenditures are going to be incurred. So that's why you see the full year budget for the expenditures and then the revenue coming in to basically pay for those. What you are proposing is that basically you put it on a 60-day, you can only operate 60 days at a time, and I would not recommend that because, like I said, there's a contract. We're trying to deal with those issues that have come up with that contract, and I really expect to come back to the council with either a revision to the contract or, some proposals. And in fact, I think it's on the resource committee meeting to get into that type of discussion.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
I realize it's on a contract, and we don't want to break the contract, and I don't want us to break the contract, because they've done broken enough times, and I don't want to go to court and then give them a way out and say, you broke the contract. So I'm not to break the contract. I think it's going to be pretty passed. So I would like to ask Mr. Hembry, please step forward. And since I'm still budgeting them a month in advance, I'm not breaking the contract, because I'm not going to be for this.
And you have every right not to be for it. I mean, and to make the motion to take the money out. But if we honor, and I haven't read the contract today, but it would be, as long as we afforded the expenses, I don't believe you would be violating the contract.
Okay.
But And this is the council's budget, this is whatever comes out here is fine, and you have every right to make whatever motions you want to make.
Okay, good. All right, you through, Jody?
Well, I just want everybody to know that, Todd, you're saying I'm not breaking the contract that way. You're pretty sure you're going to check into it.
I was checking, yeah, I
Because
wasn't,
like I said, I
yeah.
don't want us to break this contract on our part.
Okay.
I don't want an excuse given on this thing.
And in that regard, I didn't write the contract, but in that regard, I would have to, I would want to research that issue thoroughly before I tell you point blank, you're not violating it. I don't know. Okay.
Okay, I'll give you time to read it. I'll give you time to do that, but that's the one thing I wanted to ask Todd McCallum.
Okay, Mr. Thorne.
Todd, this $2 million or what it is, exactly. Are we paying that all up front? Are we holding that and paying it by the month?
I don't know.
It's being paid.
It's being paid monthly
Yeah,
in operating.
these are the monthly operating expenses
Okay,
and the billings.
You're not paying them $2 million up front, spending about a month.
And let me make this clear. We're not paying anyone except for the employees, and there is one payment on a piece of equipment.
But what you're saying, you're paying that on a monthly basis, so if something happens, you can cut that off the next month.
Basically, what this would require is if you say we're going to approve $400,000, that's 2 months operating. So every month, I would be coming to this body to request a modification as long as the landfill is in operation. So each month, you could just expect a new mod because it takes anywhere from 6 weeks to 60 days to get a budget mod through the
But
system.
now you're paying them $200,000 a month now anyway, right?
Well, what we are paying is the salaries.
Well, I know, but you're...
It's on a monthly basis,
It's on
and
a
then we
monthly
get
basis, you're
reimbursed.
not giving the $2 million up front.
Right.
Then 3 months from now, you cut it off.
Well,
If
I
something
guess-
happens that if they can't fulfill their contract or pay us the $1 million that they're fined or whatever, you can cut it off at the end of each month. They don't get it all at one time.
I guess the way I look at it, with all due respect, is that it's not a budget issue. It's a legal issue. It's not a matter of if you approve this budget, everything's just going to continue the way it is. There will be some resolution to this. And that's why I'm saying this is based on the facts that we have right now. It may change over the next 60, 90 days.
Okay. Mr. Hembry, and then I have a couple of others.
I'll defer to the council.
Dr. Cobb?
I just wanted to publicly state that I do have some questions about the landfill, but Kelly actually stated that probably better than I can. I do think this is a legal issue, and I want to make really sure that we handle it as such. But I wanted to publicly state I do have some questions, and I would like to be real careful before the legal end of this is taken care of.
Okay.
And based on Dr. Cobb's comment, the Attorney General has given ICI written notice of default on the contract, or non-compliance with the contract. And so that matter is going to have to be, they're waiting for a response from ICI. Also, that is my understanding that this matter has been set for a special meeting of the Resource Committee on September 27th, which at 10 o'clock, which we're going to delve into the issues of the landfill in toto. So I just want to make sure council knew that.
Mr. Gregg?
No, that's what I was going to indicate, that this is for committee discussion. Oh, I'm sorry. You said Ms. Friday, what'd you say?
I thought you said Mr. Gregg.
Perfectly all right. Are you done? Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have a quick question for Kelly. Kelly, I think I heard you right a while ago when you said we are paying for the employees down there and one piece of equipment. Can you just...
Yes.
What is that piece of equipment?
It's the CAT, the big
The big cat that
The big
covered it.
cat.
Thank you, ma'am. That's all I had.
Okay, Jody.
There is over $1 million in fines right now over the EPC. We laid another $1 million on the table waiting to revisit that. That's only $2 million that they're in. I am not for financing this, for putting $2.4 million. I just want to give you all an opportunity to finance them that way, give them 2 months up in advance. We have had these problems before, and I'm not voting on it, because I'm not going to have this come back by me and say, well, Jody, you're the one that appropriated for it. We've done have them dealings before, folks.
Okay. And I have, Ms. Fraley, your comment was that we do have a special meeting to discuss these issues.
And to discuss her very legitimate concerns.
Right. And Ms. Jordan?
This question is of Callie. Where does the money, okay, we're using about $200,000 a month. If this is 2.4 million operating costs, I guess is what this is.
Roughly.
Okay, so about 200,000 a month's going out to pay employees and, or I know that equipment costs a lot.
There's one.
Probably a big fee per month on this big piece of equipment. But where does the money from the company recycle back in? Does it recycle monthly?
Yes, we invoice monthly.
And do they pay the invoice?
Yes, they have been paying their invoices.
So and I know this is for the next meeting, but I just want to get it clear in my head. So what they're not paying is the host fee?
No, they are paying the host fee as well. This gets rather complicated, but it's not like we're handing $2.4 million to a company that we have a contract with. It is a business operation. There are some expenses when the contract was entered into that we agreed that we would keep the employees on Cherokee Nation so that they kept their benefits. The contractor agreed to reimburse for those. So we pay the employees, there's fringe benefit associated with that. We bill ICI, they pay us back. On top of that, they pay us a $2 a ton host fee. So that's all part of the revenue.
So where is the default part? We're getting our host fees, we're getting our reimbursement. Is there some other fee that they haven't paid us?
I guess I'm looking at the attorney to see what I can discuss in an open meeting and what I can't.
I mean, just your best guess.
Okay.
I do know.
Then I prefer to hold off on this till a special meeting, and I'm going to...
We're getting into legal...
...end the discussion on this unless there's a motion. No, unless there's a motion.
I'm going to make a motion.
Okay.
That we fund this thing for 2 months. Because once again, I just now said how every month this money revolves around, so we don't have to give them $2 million up front. And I make a motion that we only fund it to $400 million. The $400,000. I'm sorry, the I make a motion on the fund them $400,000.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay.
Call for question.
Okay. And the question's been called. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Aye.
Okay. Those in favor, hold up your hand.
A fraction of $400,000, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Those opposed? Okay. 5, 4, 8.
There was extensions. Could you have roll call on
Abstentions?
that?
Okay. Let's get Gail for a roll call, please.
We voted before I got to ask the question.
Okay. So those in favor of the motion of only putting $400,000 in the budget is yes, and those opposed, no.
Bill England?
No.
Bill John Baker?
Yes.
Jack Baker,
No.
Harley Buzzard,
No.
Julia Coates,
No.
Brad Cobb,
No.
Joe Crittenden,
Yes.
Charlie Fishing Hawk,
Yes.
Mary Crayley,
No.
Janelle Fulbright,
I'm staying.
Don Garvin, Chuck Hoskin Jr., Tyler Glover Jordan,
Yes.
Curtis Snell,
No.
Chris Soap,
No.
David Thornton,
Yes.
Carol Cotton Watts.
No. That's a no. Sorry.
Nine nay, one abstention.
Okay. 5 no, 5 yes, 9 no, and 1 abstention. So, the motion failed. Okay. Now, Dr. Cobb, did you have?
I need the question answered before the vote, but, so I'll just wait for committee now.
Okay. Okay. Are there any other items under Commerce Services? Thanks, Gail. Okay. If there's none other, we'll move to Human Services.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, page 133. We have an item that's not in the budget for human services, which is the food cost we mentioned a couple days ago, approximately $6 million.
Yes.
Yes.
These charts don't reflect that $6 million, so it's not a decrease in the Human Services Department. Let's look at their funding. The USDA would be 8.3 with the food cost in it, so you see a slight increase there. The other programs that are showing any very much increase is going to be the DHHS in the center there, and that's increasing the Children, Youth, and Family Services compared to, which is up about $4 million over the 06 actual spending level. I'll get into discussion of that on the programs a little bit more detail. You see an increase. This division has a significant amount of increase in staffing, and it's primarily in the Children, Youth, and Family Services again. And you see the number, head count numbers moving up. The Executive Director of Human Service Group has a 10% decrease in the budget due to the planning grant removal from DHHS of 50 and a $50,000 increase over 06 spending, which is just normal operational increases over a 2-year period. The Children, Youth, and Family Service Department has a $2.5 million increase, or 32%. Again, the increases in the DHS-funded Child Support Enforcement Grant of $1.6 million, as well as increases on the Family Preservation and Support Grant of another $406,000. The Child and Family Service Grant of $236 and the Transitional Living Program of another $126 round out that detail of the increase. The tribal-funded meth reduction Indian child welfare program is increasing its funding request by $325,000. However, this is partially offset by the reduction or omission of the Clothing for Kids tribal funding of $200,000. Clothing for Kids, wasn't that addressed the other day? It's not? Okay. For some reason I was thinking that one got reinstated.
We did. And we put the clothing for the kids.
Yeah.
No, it hasn't been.
No, oversight, it's just not in there. Okay. Increase over 06. I'm sorry.
Yes.
So we don't spend a whole lot of time on the clothing for kids. What I would ask you to do is put it in at the amount of $300,000.
I make that as a motion.
Gee.
Motion been made and seconded that we add the $300,000 for clothing.
I would,
Any,
Call for the question.
Mr. Cobb has the floor right now, but.
I would
and
like
then we'll-
to see that, us visit. I know Councilor Hoskins is not available today, but, and Councilor Snell has some concerns too. I would like to see, that program, from the chief's office be revisited to possibly make that run a little bit smoother, possibly talk to some of the people at Walmart.
Okay, and we can do that in committee.
Correct. Yeah, I
Okay.
just want to put that in.
So the question's been called. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, thank you.
Please respond to your concerns as well. Very legitimate and design process would be stringent.
Okay, the Family and Elderly Assistance Program has some decreases in it. Due to the omission of the heating stove initiative, $80,000 decreases, as well as the previous year included 2 years of IHP funding for the elderly housing and transitional housing and resident services, where the current budget only has the 07. Now, I would point out as the 08 IHP is considered and approved and funded, then obviously these activities in the past, if the future trends to the past, they will have 08 funding that will offset that decrease in this next year.
Excuse me, Doug. Mr. Baker.
Yes, at this time while we're under Family and Elderly Assistance, the heating stove program was an extremely good program. It gave Human Services the opportunity when stoves burn out or heaters went completely out. They had a method of quickly getting out to elders' homes and either putting in a propane stove or a gas stove, or we have many elders that heat with wood that can no longer lift the wood, so we have given them pellet stoves. And in this program, we buy pellets in bulk while they're half price, and we deliver them to the elders to maintain these stoves. And I wish somebody was here, but I think in the past we've gotten more dollars from the federal government in light heat dollars because the tribe was proactive in putting dollars in this program that we ended up getting credit for the next year, and we ended up getting more money from the federal government. So I would hate to see this program go away, so I'm going to move that we put the heating stove initiative back in of $80,000.
Second.
Okay. Motion's been made and seconded that we add the $80,000 back in to the stove heating assistance. Is there any discussion? Yes, Mr. Stowe.
Yeah, I'd like to propose a friendly amendment that since it sounds like a good program, that this come from the tribal council budget. Is that possible?
It probably could, but then we'd be getting and running a program, and they've got the people that install them. They've run the program in the past. They've already got the.
Maybe oversight. I'm just saying that we have a reduction in the allocated tribal council budget that we haven't reviewed yet to cover this.
I don't care which part of it comes out of it, I guess, but Doug, help.
That would be y'all's decision. I mean, that's. Now, I can tell you that there is 1.9 million, approximately 1.6 million. 1.6 million right now, based on everything you've done up to this point. There's an unappropriated balance of 1.6 right now. For information. But if you want to take it out of the council budget and reduce our, I mean, that's up to y'all.
Wait. So you offer a friendly amendment to reduce the tribal council budget, but what?
Could I hold just a second, because there's some comments up here, and I am neutral on it. It doesn't matter to me, but before I accept it.
Okay, we'll give this better speaker,
Can I
please.
just talk now? Chris, I was just wondering, what is your reasoning for taking out tribal council budget?
That's just there's really no reasoning. It's just bit, or what is our current budget status right now, is like what? We've got 1.6, and we were funded for, in '07, what we were funded for?
Yeah, same as '07. We're funded the same as '07, which is,
So we won't have any carryover for
we don't carry
'08?
over.
That's what I'm saying, we won't have any carryover, so are we fully expended or not?
Take it out of our '07 budget now?
'08.
It would be, oh wait.
Well, I guess it would be '07, it's the same, right?
Then it would be funded by carryover on the gen fund.
Yeah, it's the same, right? The '08 budget is the same as the '07 budget.
Yes, but the determining factor would be if it comes out of '07 unspent monies from this year in tribal council, then it wouldn't be coming out of the operating budget of '08.
So that's possible.
Yes, that would be
Is that what
possible.
you're meaning in the '07?
Then it would be funded by carryover on gen fund.
Fine with me, I'd accept it.
I believe it's a second.
Oh, wait, one other second, let me ask, Norma,
Yes.
if we don't give you the money, can you get credit for it with light heat if we do it in the council budget on those wood stoves and stuff?
Can we get credit for it if we still have it available and it doesn't come from you?
Yeah, last year we just put it in your budget, and you took credit for it, and we got more light heat because of it.
Right.
But the question is if we take it out of the council carryover, and, I mean, eventually you're gonna be the one spending it, so you get to count it.
As long as it's available, I think we'll be credit.
Okay, then I accept it, yes.
Okay, but I want to be clear. Norma's group will still be administering the program.
I would think that'd be the only place to do it.
Right, and I agree with that. Okay, so the second on that,
Well, can I pose a question
Yes,
to Councilor?
you may.
So, are we beginning to start to try to balance the budget where if we take and put something back in, we gotta take something out? Is that our thought here, or?
What do you mean balance the budget? I'm not sure I understand.
Well, I understood we
what
still
we're
had
saying.
still had funds on the table that we could take the,
It's all general fund, it's all discretionary fund, it's all the same pot of money. And if we earmark a 80,000 of tribal council's general fund slice that wasn't spent this year, it has the same effect as funding it from the 1.6 balance we have right now. Because all the gen fund unspent monies from this year, from all programs, are going to get added into on top of that 1.6 when Cali has some good preliminary closing numbers.
so it's really symbolic, what we're doing.
Yes,
Okay.
but it can be done. We'll just end up putting, how it'll work will be, we'll include a appropriated carryover into the budget for 80,000, which right now we don't have any. You know, we're not budgeting any anticipated unspent gen fund budgets of this year, which that's possible, we can do that.
okay.
Call for the question.
The question's been called. We'll take $80,000 into the heating assistance program for stoves. Excuse me.
The friendly amendment with it, is that
Yes,
correct?
with the friendly amendment.
Technical, make sure we get it right.
Right. So all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
No.
1 no. Motion carried.
We going to issue like?
Okay.
We can always get more.
Okay, is there anything else in human services?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
as most of you know, we have a new community building in Oak County, and they're trying to serve food to the elderly 1 day a week. And I'd like to put 20,000 in that program so that they'll be able to,
In which page and line item?
page 139, senior nutrition class. 101, 0450.
expenditure.
Yes.
Oh, well, wait for a second.
So you want to increase
20,000,
from 304,999 to 324,999?
whatever it adds up to. Increase of
Okay.
20,000.
Okay.
I'll make that in form of a motion.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay,
Which line?
so we're on page 139, the senior nutrition sites 1010450, where there's a budget amount of $304,999. We're increasing that by 20,000 to 324,999. Okay, discussion. Ms. Jordan.
Would you, Mr. Garman, would you consider a friendly amendment to add pegs to that?
Sure.
For,
Instead of new,
that's the same
they
problem.
go in one day or more than one?
Try and do one day.
Okay, do we have someone here that could tell us if those have already been included in this budget item?
Is that enough?
Could I speak to that?
Yes.
I can't give you all the sites, but we have a queue, we have a line of people who are waiting and asking. And unfortunately, I can't tell you exactly who those people are. But we typically try to start with the one who's been waiting the longest, if they're ready to go. You know, they have to have an organized community organization. We don't just hand them money. They have to show that they're able to manage the site and be responsible. So we don't typically just take one, because pegs could be on the bottom, or anybody could be on the bottom. So I'd like to consider that.
Okay,
I would fix my friendly amendment to say subject to all of them meeting their guidelines if,
I don't know about all of them, but OK is already in practice of doing it. They all warmed up, but the
and,
skillet's hot, they just need something to put in it.
and I think pegs will be the same way.
Okay, so you accepted her friendly amendment
Yes.
as far as pegs is concerned? Yes.
Could I just ask, I know that we've been in discussion with OK, and I can't remember Mr. Garner. Are they equipped to do more than one day right now at OK?
They could, yes. They have all the equipment, staff.
Yeah, I know that Lisa's been talking with that particular side. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Baker.
Norma, you have any idea what 1 day a week costs?
I don't have one day a week. I think I'd say 20,000 would probably get us in one site, several days a week. And depending on what they have to be evaluated individually, because some sites are like, okay, I think they're in pretty good shape and may not cost as much to get up and running as another site.
And how many do you have backed up waiting? Just best guess.
I'm going to say about 4.
About 4.
Maybe 5. We have people that have inquired and they're on the list, but we haven't done a total evaluation with them.
Okay.
We really don't have the money, haven't had the money available.
Don, would you accept a friendly amendment to bump this budget up $100,000 to give the programs the money and the ability to take it through the system? I mean, there's no doubt that senior nutrition sites are wonderful, and but I mean, I hate having 2 of them out there, waiting a year to start getting services to these seniors.
I accept.
Okay, so make it 100, and hopefully they can take care of pegs and whatever other sites are out there.
Okay, the second is...
Chairman, can I address?
Chief Smith, yes.
Okay, I certainly agree putting some more money into it. But again, we're back to that same discussion. Can staff tell us where the best application of those funds are? And subject to that understanding, I concur with the 100,000 increase in that budget. And I think we preach it to the choir because it's very effective. And you've seen some of the things that we've talked about, leadership, one of the new initiatives. Actually, these nutrition sites can be an opportunity to encourage our leaders to start, our elders, to start asserting that leadership to help our younger folks getting online, getting on track, help with their language and culture and such. But again, Norma's in a position to tell us when and where organizations are ready to do that and actually accomplish something effectively and efficiently.
So
Chapter.
Well, I have two other, but I want to clarify first. The amendment, we've added the 100,000. Now, but are we going to leave it up to Norma for all the sites to be added? And you're not going to say, okay, it has to be first or anything like
That's
that?
just in general.
Okay, very good, okay. Dr. Cobb?
I have nothing.
Okay.
I just, we have a couple of nutrition sites, one at Oaks, Norma, that's open 3 days a week, so I certainly want to look at that, and it's open 5 days a week when you get this money.
Okay. Well, those...
Question, what district doesn't have one that wants to be?
Right here. Okay. Okay, any more discussion? Then all in favor of adding the 100,000 to the senior nutrition sites, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay. Is there anything else under human services? Mr. Sutton?
The child support enforcement program, can you kind of elaborate on the significant increase there? What where that funding's coming from?
And the expansion was last year, we were in the planning phase. So we've now opened the implementation phase, and we've got operational funds. And of course, there's a big difference in the amount of those dollars.
So the DHS is contracting or giving us funds that they would normally give what the state or?
Well, they have said this is a special tribal allocation.
Previously, the Chickasaw tribe has administered this program, and now it's going to be a Cherokee.
Could I add to that?
Yes.
Chickasaws still have their program. They were just the tribe that was seeing the Cherokee cases. And they wanted us, they were behind us, moving into that direction because they wanted to take care of all the Cherokees. That was their biggest case.
Quickly?
Just,
Yes, Ms. Jordan.
a little more for Mr. Soap's probably information. They have cut off the Indian non-custodial parent that owes child support. They have cut them off from the state. It used to be a separate office out of Ada, I believe it was. And now all the tribes are starting to contract their own cases. And it brings in a big pot full of money to your tribe, allows you to employ your own people and work with your own non-custodial parents that are delinquent in child support through your tribal court system.
Okay.
All of it used to go through the state.
Okay. Are there any other issues under human services? Did I entertain a motion?
I would move to recess until 1:15.
Second.
Okay, all in favor say aye. Aye. We'll recess to 1:15.